Welcome to my humble abode, where I'm just engaging in great storytelling experiences. Would you like to hear a chapter of How to Ruin Your Game 101? The right way to start off 2024. 'Twas the night before a new Datacron set, before things went south. Everybody was happy, even Arnold's loudmouth. But then a developer's brain has left the lodge and thought to themselves, why don't we bring back Dodge? We think being able to play is sort of lame, but really all we want is to hear Arnold say, fix your game! Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off 2024 in a very interesting way. We got a few things we're going to talk about in today's video. We seem to have indication what energy is going to be needed for the brand new comeuppance. So start hoarding now, baby. And remember what I said yesterday? I feel like there's something weird about the forum post, the way they wrote it. I smelled something. Well, they clarified my comment I pointed out, and not everyone's going to like the answer. So, okay. Bo-Katan's event's already coming back? And most importantly, do you like Datacron? More importantly, do you miss the days where you couldn't land any hits? Well, how about we bring that back, and on top they have some Super Saiyan characters that you likely don't have. Let's get into it. So yesterday we had the announcement of the brand new comeuppance, which I gotta say is definitely one of the, weaker ship names in Star Wars. And I think we're gonna have some nice impacts with Zori Bliss's ship, hopefully bringing the whole Resistance fleet to maybe even competitive with maybe Executors. I don't know. But there's two things I want to bring up here. Number one, we just had data mine showing that the comeuppance Galactic Chase event is going to require fleet energy, so you better start hoarding now. And these events usually have fairly generous drop rates, way better than farming these once they become free-to-play farmable single drop. Today, there's going to be an update, and Zori will be double drop farmable. Really excited for more people to get on top of this grind, because let me tell you, she's really good for the Resistance team and the character side, and I'm assuming she's going to be great here in the ship side of things. But another thing you're going to want to have the ship for, as I said yesterday, and people were like, oh, you're reading too much into it. Listen, I could smell a smelly smell sometimes. If you remember, I kind of spent a few moments breaking down this, that something felt a little bit odd the way it was worded. I was thinking maybe they're talking about maybe a possible move of crystals from Fleet Arena to somewhere else, which could maybe still happen. But I was really perplexed by why they would say that this inclusion of the new ship would be vital moving forward with fleets as a system. It was just kind of weird. Well, shortly after, developers did clarify that did mean something. So I'm right. Ow! Listen, I gotta take credit when I can, okay? But with the release of the comeuppance, all faction fleets now have a minimum of 5 ships available to them. And what this means is fleet-based galactic challenges will now require 5 ships for the full faction fleet, or for full faction feat. So it's unfortunate. It's gonna be harder to cheese and get higher galactic challenge crates if you don't have the full faction bonus. We're a very enduring community here in Galaxy, so we'll figure it out. We'll make it work, or we'll have to accept the sad fact of the reality. But now we get to the big bomb that was dropped last night. And I think everything that we're about to talk about is gonna make a bit more sense, because for some reason the Bo-Katan event is coming back already. We're still waiting for Cal to make another appearance, and it's been months. But I think it all makes a little bit more sense why they're doing this. I just want to first point out, before we get into all this shenanigans right here, I acknowledge that this isn't going to affect everyone, and for that, I am beyond happy. This is going to be very much so a Kyber 1, Kyber 2, and sometimes it spills randomly in other areas of Grand Arena and Territory Wars. I was really hoping the developers heard our feedback back in 2022 when they first brought Datacron. They were broken beyond belief, and more importantly, the dodge meta that we had. It was a rare occurrence when your abilities would actually land their hits, it felt like. And you know what? I still am not a fan of Datacrons. I'm a fan of certain aspects, but not most of them. The stats are one of the biggest things I have not been a fan of with Datacrons. Datacrons, if they need to exist, should only be the abilities, because at times I feel like people would rather just have crazy, absurd stats, have massive advantages over their opponents who don't have the same privilege or accessibility. Well, unfortunately, and I think I might know the answer why, they're bringing back the dodge meta. There is a silver lining that maybe is a glimmer of hope in all this, but my suspicion is because the current purple Datacron sets that we have, they really dialed the stats back, and I've been pretty happy about it. It's been mostly just focusing on a couple of key abilities, and all right. But with that, that means not as many people are spending the thousands of dollars maxing out their Datacron inventories, because this set, well, not this set, the previous set to this, you really only needed like a Dr. Raffra, an anti-revive, and maybe the Hut Cartel, and you're golden. They don't want that. They want you having a maxed out inventory of tons of defense like the previous set, or now they want you to have lots of deflection. So I have a suspicion this is a direct result because people weren't spending money in the previous sets. And Datacrons are here because they want you spending the moolah. Quick update right before I was about to post this. The developers have announced that the accuracy listed in this spreadsheet is actually meant to be potency. So you can't even farm accuracy when we're about to go into all this dodge, deflection, whatever you want to call it, mayhem. Oh, back to the show. Oh, gosh. The silver lining here, though, is that although we are having deflection chance come back, and you should be able to easily, if you really wanted to wail hard and get the nice rerolls, you can easily get your deflection over 100%. Deflection, I know it's a nuanced thing, but it's an important distinction. Deflection only affects things in relation to special damage. Remember, we have a physical special damage. It might not seem like it's important, but it is important because depending on if you're a physical or special abilities, it relies on how strong your physical or special damage is, for one. But number two, for the opponent's side, they have ways to reduce special and physical damage, and in this situation, the chance of even being able to land that hit. So deflection chance is going to mitigate the effectiveness of special damage abilities, one of them being Fennec Shand, as we're going to talk about. The good news is, listen, I'm trying to find the good news here, they're not bringing the dodge. Sometimes we mix dodge and deflection together, and I'd sometimes do that myself. The good news is things that are physical damage related should not be impaired with these Datacrons because there's no dodge. So they're bringing half of what made Datacrons bad back in 2022. So, again, I'm trying to find a sliver of hope in all this. But I think if I had to make a wild guess, I'm sure people are going to want to spend a lot of resources to make sure their opponents, they likely can't hit their characters. And they'll probably go all in on that deflection chance. So I just want to say I'm just disappointed. If Datacrons have to be a thing, and they really want to have stats, and they really want to have bonker abilities, and if they really want to relegate them, and they really want to make sure there's this massive gap between the haves and have-nots, can we at least keep dodge and deflection out? And it's sad that they're bringing deflection back in. All right, aside from that, there's a couple of things that really rubbed me the wrong way. Again, when Datacrons came out, they're supposed to be, or pitched as, oh, this is going to help, less than meta characters become viable, which is sometimes true, but not all the time true, because most folks aren't engaging with Datacrons because of the relegates and all that other stuff. I'm going to jump straight to the cookie jar here. There are two big things that are nuts. I mean, again, I shouldn't be too surprised. I'm not surprised. But they're adding a Datacron for Bo-Katan Mandalore, which I think they already told us that was coming, but holy, this is just nuts. And keep in mind, there are only 900 some folks that have a Bo-Katan right now. Again, Datacrons are meant to help out, free-to-play players and help your less than ideal characters become successful, right? Bo-Katan Mandalore. I just want to read this off to you, just show you what's nutty. If all allies are light side Mandalorians at the start of the battle, Bo-Katan Mandalore takes a bonus turn, which can't be prevented, and a random non-galactic legend enemy loses 100% protection. But it gets even better. Whenever Bo-Katan Mandalore uses her basic ability on her turn, if the target enemy is not a galactic legend and has no protection, they are instantly defeated. Whenever an enemy is defeated, Bo-Katan Mandalore takes a bonus turn, which can't be prevented. Is this necessary? Is this necessary? Well, I just want to paint a picture for you. Even though it's very much so overkill, Bo-Katan's already a massive Lord Vader counter. Imagine putting your Lord Vader down and just knowing that Bo-Katan, she will insta-kill immediately at the very beginning of the battle 4 of the characters because you don't have protection on a Lord Vader team if you're Empire, Unaligned Force user, Dark Side, and then Lord Vader would be all by himself. Why? You can take other situations, you know, one-shotting Darth Malix. This is just next level bonker crazy power, man. Ay, ay, ay. The other thing I want to point out here, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon is getting a Datacron. He was already doing fairly well with one of the previous sets with the high defense and some Imperial Trooper stuff. Well, it's going to get even better at the start of the battle, and whenever Dark Trooper Moff Gideon uses this special ability, if the allied slot is available and there's no Dark Trooper, you get to summon a Dark Trooper. Otherwise, a summoned allied Dark Trooper gains a stack of Dark Trooper squad. That's nuts. Constantly, that's crazy. He's going to keep bringing in Dark Troopers. Oh, man. I'm already a decent fan of Gideon. It's like, you know, does he really need this again? Not a common use character. And then whenever an ally uses this special ability, all Moff Gideons gain a stack of insight. And then Imperial Remnant allies have plus 50% defense and offense for each stack of insight on Moff Gideons. And there's 2 Moff Gideons in the Imperial Remnant team. You can do the math. Some pretty crazy stuff. But I want to point out the other stuff that might be helpful for people who might not have Bo-Katan, might have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. And here's one of the biggest gripes I have with Datacrons. They know which is the good stat. And they throw in all these other useless abilities that make you waste your rerolls and waste your money, waste your time. I mean, I'm just going to cut plain and simple. There's really 2 dark side ones that are nice. The first one being the first time each dark side ally reaches 90%, 70%, 50% health and inflict doubt on a random enemy that doesn't have it for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled or prevented. So that's going to be pretty nice for every dark side team. I think that's also going to be pretty solid for Lord Vader. I don't think it's going to stop Bo-Katan, because she's just going to be insta-killing everyone like it's nothing. But imagine this with like anything. Set the turtle, the Supremator, it's literally name anything. Darth Malgus. That's going to be pretty nuts. So I know that Datacrons aren't accessible for most. Most aren't going to have maxed out inventories, but I think it might be worthy of having some of these laying around. Those level 3 bonuses is going to be pretty powerful. The light side has a similar thing, but they get protection, which isn't as powerful. The other level 3s I would say try shooting for is both the light side and the dark side. When you inflict debuffs on an enemy, they deal bonus damage to an enemy equal to 2% of the enemy's max health. So yeah, that's going to be also crazy. I mean, for some reason, the first thought that came to my mind was Saw Gerrera. He throws out all of his bombs. That's like 15 stacks of bombs he throws out on each character. That's kind of nuts right there. So that could make things like Saw Gerrera great, or the dark side element. Maybe Lord Vader opening up with his AoE, that could really make things complicated. I am seeing from my perspective, although Bo-Katan's going to be an easy Lord Vader dunk, they are doing a lot this season to make the bounty hunters not work as well, it feels like, against Lord Vader. I guess kind of penalizing you. You guys should have gotten that Bo-Katan a little bit sooner. You're relying too much on that cheap counter. We're bringing this into the fold. They're focused against some Mandalorian, Rebel Fighters, and Empire related stuff here. The biggest thing for Mandalorians is simply going to be the stacking offense. They're already hitting so hard, it's going to hit even harder. This is going to be nice for Maul too, I suppose. Rebel Fighters are going to have a couple of nice things here. The ones that kind of stuck out to me were allies getting 10% turn meter whenever allies grant a buff. So, you know, you can get a nice train going, like Mon Mothma, for example. And on top of that, whenever allies are critically hit an enemy during their turn, they get 10% off in stacking. That could be pretty nice as well. And then we have the Empire side of things, which gets a little interesting. Oddly enough, they are bringing back something that we still currently have. At the start of the first turn, allies gain offense equal to 400% of their current defense. It's about to expire. They're bringing it back because it's been making Dark Trooper Moff Gideon very insane. So this is going to be probably the go-to again for Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, or even Iden Versio and whatnot. And this will probably be great as well for things like Lord Vader, because this is now Empire in general, not Imperial Trooper. So Lord Vader will probably like that offense boost. And I just want to point out a couple of other character abilities that might apply if you have the opportunity to get some Datacrons up and running. Obviously, most are going to have Bo, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, but the OG Mandalorian, you know, being able to get 15% to remember when other allies use a special ability on their turn, that could be great of quickly getting as many disintegrates out as possible. So that could be something nice for people to have. Druid Imwe could be very gnarly on a variety of Rebel fighter teams. So I think, again, they're bringing a lot of, it's kind of weird seeing Saw Gerrera has been getting a lot of Datacron love this past year. Druid's going to get tons of turn meter. Baze and Druid are going to get tons of offense. Bodhi Rook is also going to have some odd love as well. So again, I think this is going to be nice for things like Saw Gerrera. Jyn Erso is going to be a nice boost for Radis with all the stacking damage. Imperial Probe Droid actually looks to be a lot of fun. One of the biggest criticisms of Probe Droid, once they self-destruct, it's kind of, you know, they're done. And the self-destruct isn't even that powerful nowadays. But Probe Droid loses all protection action and gains that much max. I think we've had this in the past, actually. Imperial Probe Droid can actually be revived after the self-destruct. They can ignore taunt. Whenever Probe Droid does self-destruct, the target enemy takes additional true damage equal to 50% of Probe Droid's max health, which can't be evaded. So this could be great with Dr. Aphelion, a variety of other things, General Grievous potentially. I will say this is probably one of the more fun ones here. Like, this is what I feel like Datacron should do, but again, it just sucks that Datacrons are gated behind this, and it's not just everyone gets it, no matter the relic levels, the gear levels, and just having to farm it. Death Trooper's gonna have a nice revive opportunity, so when he dies, he gets the revive again, takes a bonus turn. Short Trooper might be really good with Lord Vader too. Whenever a Short Trooper is dealt damage, reflect 20% of it back onto the attacker as true damage, which can't be evaded. So again, I'm imagining Lord Vader with either the debuff thing that does bonus damage based off max health. Maybe he gets the doubt that he's gonna apply, and then Lord Vader's gonna get offense equal to 400% of his defense, and then maybe throw in Short Trooper in a Lord Vader lineup to make it really hard. So again, this really feels like the developers are mad at us. We're not really heavily adopting and wailing on Bo-Katan Mandalore because, you know, if you got the bounty hunters, you know, you got a pretty decent counter. It doesn't require any Omicrons, any legendaries, anything too crazy. And that's gonna wrap it up today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping with this new Datacron season coming, I just hope it doesn't turn out as bad as when Dodge meta was first brought in 2022. It was not fun. At the core of a turn-based game is you want to be able to actually hit something, do something during your turn, and not be able to land a hit because someone just wailed a lot harder on arbitrary numbers. Doesn't really feel good. Weird start to 2024, but you know what? We're gonna push through. I hope. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never